Good morning, Shannon.
Well,
How
good morning. How are you, Renee?
this morning is brought to you by Immortelle and the Frankenstick. Um, I literally just rolled out of bed. Oh, and a silk bonnet. This is what happens when you wear a silk bonnet. I was like, oh, you know what? It's okay. I don't have to throw a hat on today. I just had a friend in from out of town, and she needed to be at the airport at 4:30 this morning,
Ooh.
which meant I set the alarm for 3:15 and I set a second alarm for 3:30. Think, because there's always that worry because we needed to be out the door by
Mhm.
3:45. And I was like, I just need to throw a sweatshirt on and roll out of bed, which is so I got up, kind of did that, got her to the airport, got back here, didn't crawl back into bed until after 5:30. But I had an alarm set for 7:20 so I could wake up with plenty of time for this. And then I hear my husband like stirring and getting up. And I was like, what time is it? He says it's 8:10. Like, I'm supposed to be already recording. So let me we, we haven't done this. We talked about doing this. We haven't done this, but what I want to tell you about is Immortelle because I got up because I messaged you. I'm like, I need 10 minutes. And I had like huge bags under my eyes, just big puffy. Because I didn't go to sleep till after midnight. Up
Yeah.
at 3:15, really not a lot of sleep. Um, and so Immortelle is an amazing blend that it's our anti-wrinkle blend, right? But it's great for those days when you wake up and your eyes are just like puffy. You just
Yeah.
uh, okay, guys, with any oils, never ever in eyes, nose, or sensitive bits. Other than there's a different class that I teach that there are a few oils. But anyway, you just roll right along and you can roll up here, but make sure it's not dripping, right? And just a little bit. And I did a little here because, I always get like the two lines right here.
Hmm.
And that was I did that about 10 minutes ago and it's amazing. And then what I did was I used the frankincense stick, which I call it the Frankenstick, and just a little, and I do this on my face every day, right? Just just a little and then just kind of rub that in. They always say you need to use like, I don't know, is it this finger?
Your ring fingers.
Oh well, I tend to, but nothing too harsh, and that's it. And no makeup, no whatever. It's just this is what you get this morning.
Yes, they say your ring fingers are your weakest fingers, so you're supposed to use your ring finger
There you go.
so you're not
Um,
pulling at your skin.
but this, so I'm gonna be a little out of it. Let's just be honest. So the Immortelle is amazing for fine lines and wrinkles, but it also, as with any essential oil, a lot of people have noticed an improvement in other areas in their life. A lot of people, if they're using around here, they're noticing better vision, which is pretty awesome. And then the frankincense stick with Nio wood is just, first off, it smells amazing. I like really woodsy smells.
Mhm.
But I've noticed that just all of my skin is improving. And then it's great for reducing inflammation, which is why, so you can see, I still have just a little bit, but it's great for reducing inflammation. And so I love to use it on my shoulders where I have all that tension. And then it's just really good for skin elasticity, and it just feels good. Any questions?
I use it on my face like you do, and then just because it's frankincense and I love it, every night before I go to bed, I rub it right over my heart.
Oh, yeah, that's a good use for it too. Over the heart is an amazing, amazing place. So, uh, other than that, I just
So,
had a really great weekend. My friend just flew in from Arizona and just to hang out, we had fun watching a couple of not Hallmark movies, but they were on Netflix, the Hallmark-esque movies on Netflix. So just uplifting. She's like, I don't like scary, so we didn't do anything scary. And then on Saturday, we went with my daughter and her family to Fall Harvest, which is an
Mm.
apple orchard. And oh my goodness, we tried both types of mini donuts. So I think we decided we liked the flavor of the Doxy mini donuts and the texture of the other one, which I didn't get the name of it, but might as well try both of them because they're really good. And then there was this ridiculous caramel apple milkshake. And it was cold and rainy. Like
Mm.
it was drizzling. And she's from Arizona. She was dying. But we get this like milkshake, which is has a big donut, not a big donut, but not a mini donut, so a donut sitting on top of it. And cheese curds. So we ate well.
Not cheese curds with the milkshakes. That was a separate thing, right?
We had cheese. Oh yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Cheese
okay.
curds were not in the milkshake. It was like
Not
a
in,
Bloody Mary.
but you were like, you're like, yeah, there's a donut on top and cheese curds. And I'm like, really?
No, thank you. No, we also had this is why commas and pauses are really important. We also had a cheese curds. Um, and then I then we had roux Thai for dinner. Like it was just a day Saturday of
Yum.
like buying food. It was crazy. And then on Sunday, it was a day of me just making a ton of food. So like I made this breakfast, which she had remembered that I'd made. And I don't do recipes. I just like throw stuff together and make them. I mean, I cook by recipes, but she was like, "Oh yeah, that sweet potato hash that you made." And I was like, so I kind of did something and it did not turn out well. It was not great.
You're like, can you remind me again what that was?
I
That's my
redeemed
husband's the same
myself.
way.
I did like a steak and like grilled steaks Saturday afternoon, and then my family was all coming over. So we had taco bar for dinner. So my husband's like, "We have two dinners today?" Yes.
Well, and you do your sourdough stuff. Like you do sourdough bread, but you do like you did that rhubarb sourdough cake when
Yes.
I was over. Like you do yummy stuff. I mean, sourdough bread is yummy on its own, but
Normally, I cook a lot healthier. Normally, I don't eat like I think I'm suffering today not only from lack of sleep because we didn't get a lot of sleep.
food
We
coma.
played a lot of not board games. She brought me the game Sky Joe. It's a really
Hmm.
fun card game. You guys will have to come over. We'll play.
Sky
Um,
Joe.
and just spending time together. And it was fun because I I got my fifth Bible while she was here. So I now have an NIV Bible. And I was able to read her my as I'm starting to step into speaking at different churches. I have my first one coming up, and so I was like, "Hey, can I read this 25-minute presentation slash sermon to you?" And she was like, "Yeah." And it's all about living your divine design within your strengths. And so I was able to read that to her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome."
Aw.
But in that process, I reached out to the church and I said, like, what version of the Bible do you guys use? Because, like, as I'm putting this presentation together so you can put it up on the screen, typically, my book is written in KJV. And that's because that's what I grew up with. And as I'm stepping into different, like, as I've been doing this study for a week now, it's a 40-day study, and I literally pull out different versions and read from different versions just to kind of understand it better, which is really fun. And they're like, "We use NIV." And I was like, "I don't have an NIV Bible." So I had to order an NIV Bible, but it's the one where it also has like pages that you can color. It's a
Oh, that's
study guide.
sweet.
Not they're not like coloring pages, but like big quotes that you can color
Right.
in, and it's just kind of a fun, prettier. I didn't grow up with that. I was like,
Yeah.
um, so it was fun pulling out different versions of the Bible and showing her. And then, of course, I showed her the Gen Z Bible, which I actually found several as I've been doing this study, several passages in like Psalms that were not irreverent. They were just easier to understand in the Gen Z
Yeah.
version.
I actually, the more we played with that version, the more I kind of liked it. Like it really just simplifies it. It takes a paragraph and puts it into a short sentence and is like, here's the point.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that one
mean,
and the NIV are upstairs. Otherwise, I'd pull it out and just kind of talk about it. But it's
yeah,
I think that has been really fun. And so we talked about because she's all also only really read the KJV version. And so pulling out the different versions of the Bible, I love the option
yeah,
where some people get very stuck in no, this is what we do. And I'm
yeah.
like,
I've read more KJV since I've known you than I've ever read in my entire life. I have a hard time with KJV because it's like it sounds like Shakespeare to me.
it's very poetic.
Yeah.
And that's what when I was talking with my when I was interviewing my pastor when I first was looking for a church and I was like, okay, so and it was something he said that first day I was there, how I guess the church, all the Bibles in front of us are NIV or ESV. I'm gonna have to look when I'm there. And he's like, but I'm going to read out of the AS, no, New American Standard, NASB, all these letters.
Yeah.
But he was reading out of the New American Standard, and so I went up to him and I asked him because I had always heard that the KJV was the most correct, and he had said that the American New American Standard was the most wooden, and I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? And he said, um, in the past, KJV was considered the most correct, but now with better translations and stuff like that, the New American Standard is most wooden, meaning it is the most correct to original Greek and Aramaic, and that the KJV is correct, but is more poetic. I was like, okay,
Right.
things you don't know until you start studying and really learning different things about the Bible.
Yeah, I try with the KGB. I honestly do. But my brain does not compute the
These and thous.
yeah. Like like I really have to think through it for whatever reason. My brain just doesn't work that way. So I can muddle through it, just not quickly. You're theater. Like you grew up with the KGB and like that makes sense to you.
Well, and all of our prayers were these and thous. And so for me, it's weird to switch to you and me and I and make it really more personal, which for me,
Right.
this last year has been amazing. Um, I don't know if I talked about this last week, but I went to a prayer group last week, Sunday morning,
Mm-hmm.
and just the prayers that were coming out and oh I did we talked about it the
Yeah.
popcorn back and how I was like okay this is so cool and just getting really personal and we've talked about this also with the Brilliant Plus app doing the praying with God and saying you and I and is so much more personal for me now anybody can pray the way that they're going to pray but more personal than saying thee and thou and thine.
Well, and isn't it interesting when you're in a prayer group like that? Uh,
Mhm.
it's almost like what you were talking about with all the different versions of the Bible. Like the first time you're in a prayer group, you're like, oh my gosh, like everybody prays a little different and it throws you off a little bit the first time, not in a bad way, but just in a like a you can do that?
Yeah. One of the
Like
women the whole time was like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, amen, mm-hmm.
yep.
Yes, yes, Lord. And I was like, I mean, I kept my eyes closed, but it was really cool because a lot of times I feel that because I'm just that passionate person that I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling that, right? But I was taught prayer in a way that it's very honorific, it's very still, it's very quiet, and if that works for you, awesome. but I'm finding that I am very much more the charismatic, the yes, yes.
Isn't that great though? And God hears it regardless, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. There's all kinds of things out there. And I think especially when you're a new Christian, it can be so overwhelming because you'll um, meet a lot of people who are so entrenched in the Christian life and have so much knowledge, and they'll start to share with you there's a correct way to pray, or there's this way to pray, or there's this order to do it in, or there's all those little, what are those things called with the little letters that all stand for something? Um,
Across, oh, what is it?
no, like they say to like set SMART goals, and S stands for
Yeah. Yeah.
specific, and whatever that is,
Um,
those things,
acronym.
acronym. So there's like all kinds of little acronyms to remind you how to pray and stuff. And at the end of the day, the great thing is God just wants you to talk with him. Like God
Yeah.
just wants to be in relationship with you. Whether you do it in the right order, whether you don't do it right at all, whether God just wants you to come to him, be in relationship and pray with him.
Now, I will tell you, there was somebody who I do believe taught us the right way to pray. And that's what I've been doing this study of well, this one I've been doing is a study of Psalms 23, but Jesus
Mhm.
did give us the way to pray.
Correct. Correct. I'm not saying there's not a way. I'm saying don't let that hinder you.
Oh, exactly. But here's
Yeah.
the great thing is people have taken that in the you have to pray the Lord's Prayer. Like that's the only prayer to pray. And I'm like, oh, actually, that's where it can,
Mm.
of
Mhm.
course, pray the Lord's Prayer. That is one of the most powerful things that I saw. Um, wasn't that what Pastor Donnie did at
Faith over fear.
Faith Over Fear when he was so just he was laying on the stage and he had this weight on his chest and he was so just downtrodden. But what came to his mind was the Lord's Prayer. So
Yeah.
that's a good one to have in your pocket. That's a good one to have memorized because if you are in that dark place and you can remember nothing else, or even just a scripture that talks about Christ and how Christ is in you, it can help you rise up and overcome anything. So there's that. But but you're right. I don't think there's a right way to say all the words.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think I might have showed you this last week, but she had all these scriptures just sitting out front, and that was not a way I'd thought about praying either. So like now, um, it's interesting to just lay them out in front of you and like blindly grab one and start with let's say let's just do it right now, right? We're just gonna start with this is so good. You can't plan this stuff. Psalm 5:3. In the morning, Lord, hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my request before you and wait expectantly. And you can start your prayer that way and just like put it out there and say whatever's on your heart.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and then the key is to lay and wait expectantly because that's the part so many people miss. We kind of get in this rote. As I've been doing this study, it gives you questions that are so provocative. You're like, oh, the one yesterday, because I obviously haven't done my study yet this morning. A little behind the ball this morning. Um, have you ever asked the Lord to reveal if you are in need of a course adjustment? So often I'll say, Lord, am I on the right path? But once I'm on that path, do I keep asking? Do I ask if I need a course adjustment? Because I'm not one of those people that likes a reprimand or a scolding
Change.
or an adjustment or my activator, ready, fire, aim. I'm like, I'm on this path. Like, oh, it went that way. I'm still going okay, pivot.
Yeah. And it's easy once you're in motion to forget to slow down for a minute and, check your directions again.
Wait expectantly.
Which reminds me of one of the things I got from Ray's book, Faith Driven Wealth, is a line in there where he says, patience is an action. And I
Mm,
was like, ooh, like wait expectantly. Like that's an action. Like we so often we think of patience and waiting as just like this heavy thing where we sit and do nothing, which kind of you do, but how that's actually, an action in and of itself. And I had never
good.
thought of it that way. Like you are doing something when you are waiting.
Did somebody write that down? Like, oh wait, Ray did.
Yes,
Ray's
exactly.
Ray's book.
Uh, and I thought of you this morning because I was reading some of my weekly thing this morning, and they were talking about he was talking about how the shepherd knows his sheep and how God knows you by name and how you're in the palm of his hand. But the comparison he used, which I loved, is he really broke it down to the shepherd. You and I can look at it made me think of your chickens because I thought I can go to your house. I don't know how many times I can look at your chickens and they all look the same to me. And I thought, but you, the shepherd of your chickens, you whatever, name them. You know who they all are. You know their stories. You whatever it is you know about them, but you still know them. I know you don't necessarily name them, but some
Nope,
people do.
I do.
And
No, I keep going, and then I'll.
I just thought that was a really cool analogy that made me think of you because, that obviously crosses over to God being the shepherd of his people and knowing us each by face and by name. And um, it was a really neat lesson, but it just made me think of you and your chickens.
It's
And that,
funny because I did a live video with Leanne this week, and we were talking about that same thing about how the shepherd knows us, right? He knows
yeah,
us. He knows everything. And then I used my chickens as an example. I know most of them, but
yeah.
like all the Rhode Island Reds, there's 5 of them out there, all look the same. So I call them all Little
Mhm.
Red.
Oh,
And
that's so
then
funny.
there's certain ones that are a different breed. They're unique. I know them, but I have like 3 cinnamon queens and I call them all cinnamon. There's
Yeah.
one golden lace Wyandotte that is gray instead of black, so I call her the gray lady, right? So like, but I don't know them all individually, and that's what's
Mm.
amazing that the Good Shepherd does know us all individually. He knows us by name. There was, and I can't remember, you guys, again, I apologize for being so out of it this morning, but there was a question in here that was talking about God and his sheep, and how do you feel about being a sheep? How do you feel about being called a sheep? Like, right in today's day and age, if I was like, oh, you're such a sheep.
Yeah, most people take that as a negative connotation of you're like this follower.
Yeah. There's so many things in our world that are twisted. Um, and in that, I was like, well, I don't like that. I was taught to be a strong, independent woman, right? There's so last night there was something about my husband said we have to adjust our son's shed house is sinking slightly. And he
Oh,
said, well, we all we have to do is lift that. And I was like, how are we gonna lift that? And he goes, well, we have a 3-ton jack in the garage because we got one to work on the Mustang. And he was just so like, well, we have a 3-ton jack. We just blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I didn't know we had a 3-ton jack. He goes, you've been walking over it in the garage. And I was like, well, how was I to know that that was a 3-ton jack? I knew it was a jack. And he's like, and I go, I'm just a girl. He goes, oh, no, no, no. You can't pull that with me. You can't pull that innocent, but that strong, independent woman.
right,
I knew it was a jack. I just didn't know what size. I didn't know it was big enough to like lift the. But he's
right.
right. I haven't. He's like, you can't pull the girl card with me. We've done too many projects together. I know your strengths. The Lord knows our strengths. So for me, it's a point of pride to be like, oh no, I'm a strong, independent woman. When really, I need to like step back and go, actually, God, I don't got this one.
Mm.
Can I be your sheep? And and what I hear is, yeah, but can you be the sheep all the time? You can be a strong, independent woman. But there's there's a there's a difference, right? Am I making sense here?
Yeah, no, you're completely making sense. We tend to get trapped in what we think an identity should be, a lot of times based on things that we experience within the world. You and I are of an age where we were growing up when women were breaking the glass ceiling finally, and da 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 da, and all of those sort of things were really joining the workforce and going head to head with men in the workforce. And that was really that I think that was when that saying became really popular, the whole breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And so since then it's really become a point of pride for a woman to be like, I am independent, I am strong, I am, all these things.
I can do everything a man can do.
Which I have no interest in doing everything a man can do, but I don't even want to learn how to do. Like, I don't even want to know because then I feel like I have to do it. I am perfectly fine with having gender roles. I'm like good or bad, whatever anybody thinks. Like I would much rather cook the dinner than do the yard work if I did like if we're gonna go traditional gender roles. Like I'm okay with that.
Okay, so I like to cook the dinner, but I hate cleaning. I like to do the yard work, but I hate cleaning. So Michael's like, he loves to do laundry and dishes. In fact, he asked me one of the things he said last night, you want to be the girl? Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna still do my own laundry because I iron wrinkles in, not on purpose.
You iron wrinkles in?
Th- I'm not great at ironing. He irons for me if
Oh,
something
that's
needs
so
to be
funny.
ironed, which I rarely have anything that needs to be ironed.
Yeah, us
But
too.
I am definitely I appreciate being able to do stuff or learn stuff or like he doesn't go, no woman, stay in the kitchen and I'm gonna go do this
Yeah,
stuff. Like there's none of that. I appreciate that. But I also appreciate more traditional gender roles the older I get.
yeah.
Like I used to be incredibly strong and was very prideful about it. And as I get older, I'm losing that and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, you're a heck of a lot stronger than I am. Like,
Well, and I think we get smarter. I mean, I hope we get smarter as we get older. My so all my cabinets from behind me are gone because I'm
yeah.
transitioning my office upstairs. And Dion and I could have moved them upstairs. I mean, we could have, but I'm like, mm, why? So, then I contact the children who are 20 and like, hey, it'll take you like 15 minutes. Would you mind stopping over and just carrying these upstairs for us? It's just so much smarter than to, insist on doing everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to that place in life where because all my children are in their, 20-ish age range. And so it's nice to have that support on things.
That strong generation that we've taught them to be
Right.
strong. But hopefully, and this is where I failed miserably, was teaching them to follow. No, I didn't fail miserably about following the shepherd, but being the sheep. I think
Yeah.
I didn't understand what that really meant. And now doing the study, I'm like, yeah, I really do. Like, Lord, I want to be your sheep. You are,
Right.
and one of the things that I try to say every day now is I'm with the shepherd, right? There we go. I'm with the shepherd. I'm okay being a sheep, um, because I need him every single day.
Well, and a sheep isn't, I mean, like I said, in today's world, the connotation is you're a follower, you're just like everybody else. You're not, your own individual person, but that's not the
Yeah,
actual case. It's just become a tagline, a catchphrase, a way to sell a t-shirt.
right. How has your week been? We talked a little bit about my craziness, but
Oh gosh, I don't remember most of it. Sadie got her wisdom teeth pulled on Wednesday.
she get
So
some good videos.
that was it. No. No, she was so normal. She was like she doesn't remember most of it, but she like totally was with it and like there was nothing fun there at all. So, so that was a little disappointing. Not that I would have been allowed to post them anyway, but there was nothing fun to even want to post. She's been doing pretty good with that, so that's good. And then Thursday, I had a funeral of one of the aunts, and that was good. It was amazing to see. The coolest thing. The funeral home was just packed. She was a people person through and through, connected with people everywhere she went. And you put her next to any stranger and she had a friend within 5 minutes. And um they had a time where it's like if you have a story or whatever, feel free to come up and share. And this gentleman came up and he was like, how many of you here today are from the graduating class of 1962? And there was like a dozen people that raised their hand. So here there was this group of people from the graduating class in 1962. They still got together like every 2 weeks and
Did she
had
grow up in a
lunch
small
and
town?
breakfast. No, she grew up right in the Anoka area. So I mean, suburb town, not
Yeah, not
tiny
small.
town. No.
Yeah.
Um, but that I mean, that didn't surprise me in the least. And so it was just kind of cool to see who was there and how long she had maintained these relationships and how they weren't secondary relationships. I mean, they got together every other week still. 1962. Who who do you hear that? Like you don't hear those stories. So cool. And didn't surprise me about her at all, but still super cool to see and hear. And then Friday, I spent half the day helping some young chiropractors, well, not young chiropractors, but new chiropractors, try and do some setup and some things in their office. And so I was home all week for the first week in like 5 weeks, but like
Nice.
still busy, but good. And I was home this weekend for the first weekend in like 5 weekends. So that was very nice. I slept till
That's
10 a.m. I woke up at like just a little bit before 8 and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stretch for a minute and I'm put on my Brilliant Plus app and I was just out. And next thing you know, my granddaughter's knocking on the door. It's so cute when kids come up with like reasons. She knocks and she's like, Nana, I just wanted to make sure you are okay in here. I'm like, oh, that's code for are you getting up anytime soon, Nana? I'm like, what time is it? I'm like, oh gosh, Nana was back to sleep. So I feel rested. Unlike you, I feel
I'm
rested.
like I I feel I feel like full but not rested. Like
Yeah,
it was so loving of this friend of mine to just come up, no agenda, no anything, just to spend time. And I
that is
think
cool.
so often there's not that in the world anymore, right? Because typically if I travel somewhere, it's business and I'm getting
Yeah,
stuff done or I'm taking care of family or like you're taking care of family as you're doing end of life stuff with family members. But it was just there was nothing on I was like, okay, when she got here, I was like, okay, we can do this. Like I had all these things. And she goes, I just came to spend time with you. So whatever. And then my
that's cool.
daughter was like, "Hey, I want to take the boys to go to this apple orchard. It's kind of a festival type thing." And she's like, "Ethan's gonna build the chicken coop because they're building a bigger chicken coop on their property." And so then I was like, "Ethan, can I take Ellie and
Mm.
the boys to the fall harvest, the apple orchard?" And he goes, "Well, I want to go." I'm like, "Ethan, do you want to go to the fall harvest? Can we go with you?" And it was just really fun because my friend, she just loves kids and she's got one grandbaby and so she was able to just love on my grandbabies and they just adored her. So
Oh.
that was a good time.
And I bet I mean, you mentioned that it was chilly for her. It was Saturday. It's not that it was really cold Saturday, but it's when you get to that, it gets cold enough and you get that dampness. It was like that bone chilling
It
cold
was
on
misting
Saturday.
on us. So
Yeah.
I think it was like 52 or something, but only felt like 40,
Yeah.
maybe 48. And for somebody from Arizona, she was like, it's cold. So she had like layers and I'd warned her, I
Yeah.
was like, wear layers.
I think even from Minnesota though, because like I was out, my mom did a craft show on Saturday, and so I went to go visit her at a craft show, and the friend I was with, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I just caught that chill." And it's like when you're in that damp, cold weather, once you catch a chill, it's hard to warm up until you're back in for the day.
And I highly suggest do not let your grandkids bury you in a corn. Uh, so it was all the hard corn, the
Corn
feed corn,
kernels. Yeah,
and they had a pit that you could just. It's cold.
I
Like
suppose.
it
Yeah.
just held the cold, and so then I was like, okay, I'll let them bury me, and then I'm like sitting there going, can I get out now?
It's like one of those ice plunges.
Yeah,
That's funny.
definitely.
Oh, but what good memories and how fun to have that time with your friend.
Yeah, amazing memories, and I think it just reminds me that I need to do more of that. Is
Yeah.
slowing down, just taking the time, getting to know people on a deeper level. Well, taking this to strengths. I'm a five relationship builder, three influencer. So I want to connect with people but move them forward, right? Like this is why I love coaching and helping people move forward in whatever aspect of their life they're working on. But a lot of mine is just real surface because I have woo high, you have woo high, and
Yeah.
but you have relator where I have includer. So your
Yeah, my woo
relator,
is 10, yours is higher than mine.
my woo is one.
Yeah. My
And my
relator is number 2.
yes, and my includer is number 8. And
Okay.
so I have lots of friends. Like everybody's invited. You can all come to the party. We're all going to do the things. And then I'm going to talk to everybody just like where you're going to go to the party, you're going to sit down with one person and go as deep as possible until they're
Yeah.
like, okay, and then you're going to find the next person you can go into a super deep relation like conversation um and neither one of those is wrong. But I'm
Yeah.
finding as I'm getting older that I'm like, you know what? I really do need to have those deeper relationships, those deeper conversations. And that's also bringing it back to prayer where I'm like, oh, I need to have deeper conversations, not just like, hey, what's up? You good? I'm good. Let's go. You know?
Yeah. I forget to do that sometimes in prayer, not because I don't want to, because but it's so easy to be like, "Well, God, you already know." Like, I know that you already know. Like you know better than I know, so I don't have to say it. But I think there is power in saying it.
There is. There is. And going back to this study, like I keep bringing things back to kind of the same thing, but having a study to go through that makes you think deeper questions or think about things that you're like, I never really thought about that. It's like get up, read your scriptures, say, "Hey Lord, this is what I need. We're good, right?" No, that's not how it should be.
Right.
Do you want a friend like that? Do you want a friend who's like, "Hey, so I kind of briefly read about you. This is what I need from you. We're good, right? Till tomorrow?
Yeah, good talk.
You gonna give me that? Wait, you're not gonna just like give me what I want? You're gonna make me work for what I want?"
Uh,
Sorry, you're getting me like now my
I
brain's
know.
working on that like,
I know.
wow, that's really what I've been doing.
Well, you do because you don't even think about it because you just know that God's already in it and he knows all the things. And so when you go into conversation, a lot of time you skim the details because it's like, you give God the Cliff Notes version because you know he already knows the whole story. And I'm not sure that that's actually the way it's supposed to be, but I think that's what we default to. And I think it's easier. I think it's easier to default to that than to go deep ourselves into what's going on with ourselves, with our own lives and our own things.
Well, yeah, because sometimes I'll start telling my husband a story and he'll like interrupt me and go, yeah, don't you remember I was there? Oh, yeah.
I do that all the time. I think though, so now in your defense with that, I think what happens is when you're a people person and you spend so much time talking to people, you cannot keep track of who you've had what conversations with. I mean, it's different if it's like you said, a deep one-on-one where you're learning something very personal and deep about them. But in general, when you're sharing something, I just asked my husband that yesterday. I'm like, hey, did you know? I'm like, wait a second, are you the one who told me this thing? And he's like, yeah, I just told you that. I'm like, okay, okay, yeah. Like, never mind then. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I like to go as deep as somebody will let me in a conversation. So I usually end up having to ask permission. Like, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions and feel free to tell me to mind my own business if you don't want to answer them? Because I love to understand who somebody is, why they think the way they think, why they like I find people fascinating.
Have you done that with God in prayer?
In terms of me, so I think I think you and I have had this conversation a little bit, but like in terms of me, I have. Like, God, how do you see me? Who am I
Right.
to you? Yeah.
Right. But no, this just came to mind.
But I
If
haven't
you
flipped the script. No.
flip the script, like
Yeah.
that
Not that
would
I can
be
recall.
that would be a really interesting thing to just and wait expectantly.
There you go. Perfect note.
I really do like this. I like having it was so funny because she had the stack out there and I was like, those are awesome. She's like, take them. I make them all the time. So like
You're like, thank you. I
and
will.
little prompts. Now I'm like, oh, I should do this for other people.
It's very cool. Very cool. All right. Anything new with Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths before we tie it up?
Um, just that like I said, I'm stepping into speaking at churches or study groups. So if you guys know of any churches or study groups that would like to bring me out, I'm looking for a church in San Diego in March. I'll be going out to San Diego in March, and so I want to hit as many churches as I can because it's been really I think what's been really fun and exciting for me is the people who are messaging me privately saying how much the book is helping them. And so, yeah, I'm going to be in San Diego in March. And then next September, I will be in the Orlando area. And so I'd love to connect with a church or two that I can come in and speak at. Um, so that's been really fun. And then practicing, I've been practicing. I've obviously several different topics I can talk about, and so I tailor it to the church and what they want me to share. But really, it's about getting to know who you are through who God created you to be. So understanding who you are through your strengths, and then understanding who God created you to be in your strengths. And how you can live
Well,
your daily life.
and you have a Facebook group that people can be a part of
Hmm.
to kind of learn more about that community, which is so cool because I've been seeing people pop up on the Facebook group where they'll just do what you did and flip to a page in the book and then uh, talk about how that resonated with them or how so it's kind of cool to see people sharing their stories on how the book is impacting them.
Yes, yes. That I again, the book came through me. Obviously, there's parts of it that I wrote because there's my story about at the beginning of each chapter of relying on God or love and respect in marriage, faith over fear, like just those things. And somebody recently just opened up to, because typically you'll open it up and a lot of times it's like, okay, if you start with a prayer and you open it up and you're like, okay, so divine thread recognizes God's hand in every situation, trusting him to bring blessings from adversity. So Ephesians 4:32, and be kind one to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. why this resonates. Divine thread sees the divine tapestry that links every life, understanding that we are all part of one family. This verse calls those with this talent, which I have it at number 10, to extend kindness, tenderness, and forgiveness to everyone, even those who oppose them. By embracing this practice, they embody the principle of blessing those who curse them, transforming discord into opportunities for unity and healing. Right? So that's what I'm used to, is people opening it up and having that. And this one, she opened it up to like the beginning of the chapter and read
Your story.
my story and um was like, oh my gosh. And she's like crying while she's doing this. As she started, she's like, I so needed to read this today. I was like, and then somebody else reached out to me and was like, I'm reading this part, and it's like, you have my life written right here. And I never expected that sort of impact. And that part I've just been thanking God every day. I'm like, thank you for working through me. Right? Like I always, whenever I'm doing any coaching or I'm doing holistic alignments or anything, I'm like, thank you for um, allowing me to be an instrument in your hands. And that's what I want to be. I want to be that instrument in his hands to make sure that I'm uplifting others. I'm helping them see who he sees them as. So that's been, that's what I'm working on right now with Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths. So
Yeah,
if you want to join the group, it's just called Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths on um, Facebook. I do have an open page. I'm starting to figure out how to use that, but the Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths will have the cover as the banner.
yeah, it popped up on my Facebook the other day because it said I wasn't following you yet. And I'm like, I was one of the
No, I have
first
an
people in
open.
there, so I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's because I was talking with Eddie and he's like, we need to have where you can just share. And I said, the Facebook group is private. And the reason for that is people are sharing being vulnerable. And I want
Mm.
them to feel comfortable that that's not just going to be anywhere and everywhere. So that group is private. And then I do have a page
Okay.
that you can
Okay.
follow the page. I just haven't been as active on that page yet because
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out this whole social media thing because, you know,
Right.
as much as I love people, like I want to be in person, but this is also the best way for me to reach as many people as possible.
And to give everyone a chance to feel like part of the group. That's
Yeah.
important to a lot of people.
Yeah.
To be, the people I think who do go live or who are vulnerable in the group and open a page and read a thing and share, like, I think that's something clearly within their strengths where that's something they need to have that outlet.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. So, um, yeah, I think
Very cool.
today's been um a little meandery as usual, and I love it. I love how God just leads us in different directions, and I'm so grateful for you, Shannon. Can I just tell you that? Like,
Sure.
I know you I know you love this part. You love it when you're put on the spot like this, when people tell you how
Uh,
awesome you are. But I'm just so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the ability to have these conversations. There's not a lot of people that, like Leanne and I have conversations very similar, but I'm very grateful for you and for this Be the Light series that we've been doing for almost a year now.
I know, isn't that crazy?
A little off and on,
Almost
more
a
off than on.
year.
Yeah.
Almost a year. Well, now, no, we've been pretty regular now.
Yeah.
Once we went to once a week, so we were very ambitious at first. We're like 3 days a week. We're gonna. Then we were like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's all
But
much.
now that we're 1 day a week, unless somebody is sick or something in life happens that delays it, we're pretty on schedule.
Yeah, next week, Halloween. Halloween, I stood up when Ray was like, "Who wants to accept Christ in their heart?" And I was like, so it's kind of
Yeah,
it's kind of a fun day that I get to say that's when I really like, yeah, I grew up Christian, but I really gave my
yeah.
heart
It's
to God.
Friday.
Yeah,
This
Halloween
Friday.
2024. Is Friday or is
But
it Thursday?
I think it's Friday. I think it's like 4 days away. Let me look.
Wow,
Let me look. Let me look. Yeah, Friday.
Friday. Well, it's a good day. It's a good day for me to recommit and just look at things. So I'm very grateful for you. I'm grateful that we've been on this path together, that you've been here as my mentor, my guide, and I look forward to a lot more of these.
Me too. Thank you.
So if you've made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching. And I hope you have an amazing, blessed day.
Oh, bye everyone.